Episode 137. Today we recap the Marlins series and preview the upcoming series against the Tampa Bay Rays. You're listening to the Bucco Banter podcast, brought to you by the Just Baseball Media Network. Cue the music.
Rockin' 101s, yeah, she compliment my taste. Whiskey in my lemonade, cause I like the way it tastes. Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates. Order steak by the plate, sending case after case. Run my race at my pace, clear the grass of the snake.
Adam, top of the morning to you. We are truly sickos because we're talking about the Pirates bright and early, and it's not a lot of good things to say about this team, but at this moment, it's early. But first, you just got back from Arizona. That's why we're recording early in the morning. How was your trip?
It would have been a lot better if the Pirates played well. I found time to watch every single Pirates game, which on the West Coast was a lot easier. Because we got plans throughout the day. The games are early. Nice way to get everything started. But yeah, overall, very disappointing opening series for the season. I want to emphasize opening series.
Yeah.
As bad as that was, you texted me, hey, it's going to be hard to be positive about the Pirates. We're going to get into it. It's the opening series. Just keep opening series.
That was my positive spin that I was going to bring into this episode was it's early.
Yeah. It is. But real quick, before we get in, you mentioned I was in Arizona. I had a great time with my buddy Gus from high school who lives out in Phoenix. Went to Chase Field for the first time. Saw a team put up 8 runs against the Cubs. So for me, that kind of offset at least one of the games for the Pirates, seeing the Cubs get beat up a little bit. I did bet a Kyle Tucker home run. He didn't hit a home run. And then I bet a Matt Shaw home run. He didn't hit a home run. And then the very next day, both of them hit home runs. So that was fun. Went out that night after the game, had a bunch of drinks, had a good time, got to chatting with a girl from Iowa. Okay. And this girl loved Iowa so much. And I was like, there's nothing like that great from Iowa. But in the back of my mind, I knew something really good from Iowa. And she loved Iowa sports. And she's like, and she went to Iowa State. She was like, we had Breece Hall, we had Will McDonald, Caitlin Clark's from the state of Iowa, Alan Lazard out of all names. And she was going on, just mentioning all of these, decent athletes that either went to Iowa schools or that were born in Iowa. And I said, I think you're forgetting one. And she said, I don't think I am. She said, I watch football all the time. I watch basketball all the time. Those are pretty much all of the famous athletes that have been born or have went to Iowa schools. And I said, I think you're missing Mitch Keller. And she said, who? And then I said, I don't know if we could talk anymore.
What? She didn't know who Mitch Keller is?
Arguably the biggest name on that list.
I don't know what the biggest. But...
Okay, well, you know what? Each their own. It was the biggest name on my list of Iowa.
Yeah, but she shouldn't have.
Ionian? Is that what it is?
Iowan?
Yeah. Yes, 6 a.m. Mitch, yeah. So didn't know who Mitch Keller was.
I thought you were going to tell me that she was a sister or something like that. I was like, oh.
No, that would have been bizarre.
Yeah.
But no, not related to Mitch Keller. Has no idea who Mitch Keller is. Probably still doesn't know he exists. Maybe thought I was just making up a random name. But yeah, figured I'd sneak in Iowa to this episode before we talk about the Miami Marlins.
That's not where I thought it was going, but I knew you were going to bring up Mitch Keller because that's our Iowan. So
yeah, our Iowan, dude. We just gotta. I feel like we forgot about Nick Gonzalez because how bad this series was. We have to bring it up again because games 1 through 4 were so bad, and Nick Gonzalez injury, fractured ankle, non-displays. He went on the 10-day IL, but he's going to be out for a while. Correct. everybody, like by game 3, everyone probably forgot about it. It was already in the back of their head because of how bad the play actually was. And I was listening to that call on the radio and I heard that he was limping around the bases. I was like, what is going on? And I texted you. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
You're like, no idea.
They mentioned him fouling a ball off of his, I think, ankle or foot in spring training, and then they think he just aggravated it by the way he tweaked it by the way he jumped out of the box or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember that in spring, but it was, as soon as he got out of the box, I'm like, wait a second. Everyone's cheering. I'm like, he doesn't look okay. This is not good. So it was, it was frustrating. And then on top of that, they replace him with Adam Frazier and Emmanuel Valdez got the call up. And to me, if Nicky G is going to be out for a while, Nick York's MLB ready. Like I know you put him. He had a weird spring because he didn't play well defensively. You had him at first playing a lot of different positions, but he showed flashes with the bat, and I think the bat's ready. And the second base is his natural position. So I don't know what they're doing in that regard.
And it's not like Emmanuel Valdez provides that much more versatility. They played him at first base on Sunday, which
did they do that all spring?
I think he played maybe a couple of innings at first base, if that, like early on. He looks brutal over there. It's not, he didn't make anything that was so glaring, but just watching him play first base, it's very clear it's not his natural position.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Frazier, I'm going to be hesitant to complain that much about Adam Frazier for this series because he did keep us in a couple of games. He had an RBI in one of the games. He didn't put up awful at bats. He played a very good defensive second base.
Yeah, he did.
He did. He played very well. But I don't like this is why we signed Adam Frazier banter out there. Again, he didn't have a bad series, but you do have Nick York ready. Just pull the trigger on it. We talked about it with Jim Stam on the preview of the importance of having that mentality of win now. And Derek Shelton said it before the year. The time to win is now. Is it though?
That was my biggest question watching this series and all the decisions they made from the bullpen to the roster decisions. I'm just like, these don't look like win now decisions. Like, what does Emmanuel Valdez provide this team other than, hey, we want to see if we need to keep him on the 40-man before we like. This seems like more of like a roster management decision than a win now decision. And it's just like, why are we even wasting games against the Marlins with Valdez? I'm not saying that we're necessarily wasting it with Valdez himself, but it's just like, are we assembling the best roster to win now? And I think the answer is clearly no.
It's clearly no. And you saw this Marlins roster. Not good at all.
Fighting
fish, man. The fighting fish. It just, they're not good. And the Pirates are not good. Right now, the Pirates are not good. It just didn't look good. You can't sugarcoat it in any other way. It was maybe one of the worst executed series of baseball I've ever watched in my entire life. Like, I can't remember something in recent memory where it was just so bad. Just noticeably, this is not Major League Baseball ready for an opening series. Like, the adrenaline should be up. Everything from spring training goes out the door. You got your 1 through 9, you got your rotation, you got your bullpen. They just simply did not look like a team out there. O'Neal Cruz played a bad center field. He played, and I've been a big proponent of Cruz this offseason being able to make that transition in year 2. He got a little bit of time last year, had a full offseason underneath his belt, but there's still such a learning curve there when it comes to fully understanding the position and understanding baseball situations, because it doesn't seem like he has a solid grasp on how to not use his absolute cannon of an arm, but understand the consequences of not hitting a cutoff, or at least not keeping the ball down when you have 2 outs, guy on second, a single, the guy scoring. He's going on contact. So no matter how strong your arm is, you could throw the ball 150 miles per hour from the outfield. He's most likely going to be safe because he's going on contact, right? So then anytime he did it twice, he overthrows the cutoff, makes strong throws to home, but way late. And then the guy advances to second. And then on both times, I believe that run, I know on the first time he scored, and that was a go-ahead run. And then the second time he did it, I believe that run scored as well. So the outfield did it in many different situations. Jack dove for a ball that he came up 1.5 feet short on that advanced the guy to second base, and that guy scored. So outfield defense left a lot to be desired this weekend.
We knew this too. Like this was my whole point about surrounding O'Neill with plus defenders in the corners, and they don't have one above average outfielder on the roster right now. Billy Cook's the best one on the 40-man, and we've mentioned that many times. This is where I'm like, I mentioned before, they have all these puzzle pieces that don't fit together. The roster is just weird, and this is where it comes down. Did they make the best roster decisions for this team to win now? And again, the answer is clearly no. Like it's surrounding O'Neill with Sawinski, Reynolds, Pham, and Ji-Hwan Bae. If he's on the flight to Tampa, man, and I know he is, but he shouldn't play another major league inning.
That, out of all things,
I mean, that's getting lost too.
O'Neill having he had very good at bats. He drew a lot of walks. I don't understand why he already has a day off on a Sunday. I get Sunday lineups or whatever. Come on, like let's get serious. He's an everyday major league player. Like, what are we doing? 4 games in, you need to put him in late in the innings, just coming off the bench. Not great. Dropped the ball in center field. Ji-Hwan Bae, man. It's something we've talked about for years now, even before we started doing this podcast, that he is never going to be a major league bat. And the only benefit of having Ji-Hwan Bae on a major league team is his speed, and he is an atrocious base runner. And this is not a secret. This is something that has been displayed at the major league level on multiple occasions. If you're going to be here, you got to execute.
If that's your one tool too.
Yeah, you're a one-tool guy, and that tool is questionable at best because you do not know how to utilize it at all. The amount of false starts that he had on attempted steals, poor decision-making, going with 2 outs, already in scoring position. You're a fast guy, ball in the dirt, and you can't get to third base.
I mean, speed-wise, on a scouting scale, he's probably like a 60 or something, like above average. But like, as a scout, I bet you give him a 40 because of his instincts alone. Like, the speed doesn't make up for it. Like he makes so many blunders on the base pass, and we've seen this before. We've seen this when he's been up before. It's no secret. So I just don't know what value he brings to this team at this current moment. But what I will say, and we'll get into it when we go, break down these games a little bit further individually. They clearly are more aggressive on the bases this year. And I think that's a plan. And I like that. I'm a fan of that because they need, as a team that's lineup is not comparable to the Yankees, to the Dodgers. Maybe they need to start using torpedo bats, by the way. They need to figure out more ways or get creative with moving runners to be successful in this game. And so I think that plan is something that's being clearly executed early on. I'm interested to see how that looks going forward. But that was very, very obvious to me through the first 4 games.
That was the one big positive that I had, was the base running mentality. And for the most part, I think they lead the league in stolen bases right now by quite the margin.
I think they had 15 or 16 for the first 4 games total.
Yeah. If you're going to trot this lineup out there, you have to push the defense in ways that are going to help you get runners in scoring position. Now, whether you get those runners in, again, we'll discuss that now because, my God. The runners in scoring position also wasn't great this weekend, but
well, no, and I made note of all those stats through each game. Before we go into these games too, I just want to say the positives that I'm bringing into this episode. Outline them real quick. One, it's early. Okay, last year and I feel like the last few years they've been known to get off to these hot starts. Remember, they were like 20-8 through the beginning of April last year. Maybe it's best we go through these blunders now and not get off to that hot start and then fall off real rapidly. I'm spitballing, man. I'm trying to find something. And then also 1924. The 1924 Pirates. I'm sure you saw this stat.
I did.
Circulated. The Pirates were the first team for their first 3 losses of the season to be walked off. The last team to do that was the 1924 Pirates. That team won 90 games. So, food for thought. This team is not a 90-win team, but anything can happen.
As a franchise, they're 18 games over 500 right now. Let that sink in for just a second.
Whew. Wow.
18 games over 500. Let's make up some ground here, huh?
Let's go into this.
Stay above that 500 mark. In the grand scheme of things, hey, we're above 500. So, yeah, I agree, man. It's early. They always get off to these hot starts, and then they hit just an absolute just downward spiral. And then they don't seem to be able to regain that confidence as the year goes on. So baseball is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Let's go to Tampa. Let's get, everything in place. Let's play better baseball. It's hard to play worse, honestly. Again, positive. Hard to play much worse than that. So if that's the worst it's going to get, so be it.
Absolutely. Before we go into these games, let's take a quick break.
All right, we are back. Before we get into this Marlins series, real quick, if you haven't joined the Just Baseball Discord yet, what are you doing? It's the best baseball group chat in the world. That's where you're going to get all your MLB bets, fantasy prospects, trading cards, exclusive picks, and more. Same content that you're getting from us, but you'll get a lot more from Just Baseball over there. $10 a month. You can find the link in our bio. Make sure you go do that to become the best baseball fan you possibly can be. Scott, let's go into the Marlins. I'll get us kicked off here. Thursday, 5-4 lost. It was Skeens Day. Looked pretty good, man. 5 1/3, 3 hits, 2 earned, 2 walks, which came in that last inning back-to-back. 7 Ks overall. He's got a 3.38 ERA right now on 94 pitches. That's going to be the thing with Skeens that we're going to have to see. And maybe if it's even possible for him to take his game to the next level, to be a little bit more efficient, going deeper into games, but guys that punch out a lot of hitters are usually not going to have low pitch counts, but only hit hard twice the entire game. Yeah. Just missing barrels, heavy sinker 4-seam usage, 16 whiffs. He looked good, man. That's another positive. Anytime Skeens goes out there, we should be winning most Skeens games. And if he puts up performances like this, there's no reason 4 runs shouldn't get it done. But here's where it came in. Here's where it got sketchy. The bullpen. Santana didn't look great, but Joey Bart didn't help him out. Pass ball on just something that absolutely hit him right in the glove. Brucky, 1/3 of an inning, 1 K. Caleb Ferguson had a clean inning. Colin Holderman, man.
Good.
People are not happy about Colin Holderman right now going into the second series of the year. 1 inning pitch, 2 hits, 2 earned, 1 K, 37 pitches in 1 inning. 37. The sweeper was down 3 miles per hour on the velo, as was every other pitch. Alex Stumpf, I believe, mentioned that he was shaking his wrist a little bit, and there's been nothing reported to the team at all on if he's injured. I don't know if that's even a real thing. It was just an observation, but Not good the entire series. Just bad. David Bednar came in, 2 hits, 1 earned, 1 walk. The Marlins walked it off. As bad as Bednar was, believe it or not, this was not his worst outing of the entire series because the 2 hits that he gave up, I have no idea how those balls were turned on and hit as hard as they were. The ball off the fence, which again, O'Neill had an awful read on that at least could have had an attempt to catch at the fence. Didn't do anything with it. And then the ball that Kyle Stowers walked off on shouldn't be hittable.
Yeah.
At all. But came in a high leverage situation and didn't get the job done. So no matter who's hitting what pitches, doesn't matter, I guess, if you're the closer of this team. Offense, Tommy Pham 1 for 3 on opening day with a double and a walk. Reynolds 1 for 4, 2 RBIs. Nicky G, as we mentioned, 1 for 3, home run, 2 RBIs. Left the game early. We found out that was a fractured ankle. Ke'Bryan Hayes 1 for 4. As a team, here we go, getting it kicked off for the year. 1 for 9 in runners in scoring position, 9 left on base, 11 Ks, 1 error, and 1 passed ball. The only other notes I have on this man is addition, just such a learning curve for Cruz out there. It was noticeable. Bad reads all around. Bart had some rough moments behind the plate. The framing was bad. Holderman didn't help Holderman out as bad as Holderman was. Holderman had a strike 3 call that was already in the zone, and the glove movement that he had from where it was originally a strike to where he moved it probably just messed the umpire up even more.
Yeah, I noticed that with Endy too a little bit on yesterday's game, by the way. Some strikes being missed because of the glove placement. But the only other notes I have on this game were the fact that they had 6 stolen bases, as I mentioned before these previews. Cruz, Hayes had 2, IKF, Pham, and Reynolds. They were definitely active on the base paths. Offensively, they struck out a lot looking in the first few innings. I think they had 3 in a row or 4 in a row at one point. I'm going to chalk that more up to Sandy Alcantara. Like, he was back to his Cy Young form, but they were really frozen on the sinker, man. They were watching a lot of 2-strike pitches go over the plate, like right over the plate. So that was frustrating. And my last note is the bullpen usage. Why was Santana the first out of the pen? Like, I don't want to be the guy that gets overly critical, on game 1's bullpen usage, but I don't know. Like, you're coming at the 6th inning. Like, let's maybe bring Buccos in first. He's a different look than, I don't know who was up that inning. Can't really remember, but a different look than Skeens. And then Santana is better in the later innings, like maybe like an 8th inning guy.
Which he proved later on in the series.
Exactly. So I was a little bit like questionable about that usage, but also with Holderman and Bednar too. Like, Holderman throwing 37 pitches. A lot of people were uptight about that. I don't see why they let him go 37 pitches, but I also don't think they plan on using 5 pitchers this game with Skeens on the mound. I really don't. Yeah. And another theme that we'll get into as I get into game 2 here, Shelton said that we don't have a closer, but Bednar is getting.
You sure about that?
You
sure about that?
Nothing told me that this team doesn't have a closer and his name isn't David Bednar, because he was warming up for every 9th inning. He was getting the highest leverage of situations. And to that, I say, we can't afford to let this ride out like last year. We just can't. And I'm interested to see if they continue to go back. I mean, they used him 3 out of 4 games this series. I'm interested to see if they continue to go back to him in Tampa in the 9th inning. I doubt they will tonight just because of how much he's been used. But the bullpen usage was weird. That's the only way I have to describe it.
Yeah.
Let's get into Friday's game real quick. 4-3 win, the lone win of the series. Mitch Keller looked really good. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 4 Ks. He had only 8 whiffs, but he looked solid, pitching to contact. I think the most reliable guy out of the pen this first series was Caleb Ferguson.
Absolutely.
He threw an inning, no hits, 1 K, got another hold. Buccos looked good again, 1 inning, 1 K. And then Bednar secured a save, although without some sweating. They're up 4-1 in the ninth inning. Gave up a home run to Otto Lopez, fastball right over the plate. So 1 inning, 1 hit, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 1 K. He got out of that shortly after the home run. Cruz, offensively, 2 for 4, home run, 115 miles an hour off the bat, 2 RBIs. He had his second stolen base, and he walked. One thing I noticed with him in this first series, I know he was a little bit rough in the field, but the plate discipline looked to be something that he was focusing on this offseason, because he was that was something I was really impressed with over the spring, and in this series, it seems like he's taking more pitches or laying off, not chasing as much, shall I say?
Absolutely. As a team here, 6 Ks, 5 walks, 3 for 8 runners in scoring position, 8 left on base, 2 stolen bases. Cruz, yeah, the walks were another positive. If we're just scratching here of anything that we could talk about to keep the hopes up and remain optimistic. 3 hard hit balls. Joey Bart, good day. Kutch has looked decent. But yeah, I agree. Caleb Ferguson by far has been the best guy out of the pen. Brucky has also looked pretty decent, but those lefties have not looked bad. Saturday, extra innings, 12 of them to be exact, 5-4 loss. Bailey Falter, another positive here. The starting pitching has looked pretty good so far. 6 innings pitched, 7 hits, 2 earned, 4 Ks. He's got a 3 ERA. That fastball, the 4-seam at the top of the zone, looks to be at midseason form where he was at last year, where he's going to be successful. For baseball fans out there that aren't familiar with what makes Bailey Falter successful, he's not going to overpower you, obviously. He's going to sit 93 to 94, but that rise on that fastball with the extension that he gets, you're more likely to get swings and misses at the top of the zone because it is harder to get on with a rising fastball. When it looks, it's 94, but it's going to look like it's 98 up there.
Yeah.
So you're hoping Bailey Falter sits at the top of the zone with his 4-seam fastball as like a put away pitch. I saw a lot of people out on Twitter saying, oh, he's keeping the ball up. This is bad. The old school baseball approach of like keeping everything down, that's outdated.
That was like 10 years ago, man.
Get it out of your mind. That does not work anymore. Obviously, there are certain pitches, certain situations where you want to stay down in the zone, but not here. So Bailey looked good. 87 pitches. Bullpen, we had 4 guys used here, I believe.
5.
Actually, 5. Meza, 1/3. We had Justin Lawrence, 1 inning pitch, 2 hits, 1 earned, 2 Ks. I just don't have confidence on where the ball is going with Justin Lawrence. The amount of movement is sick. It shouldn't even be allowed to get that much horizontal movement on a baseball. I don't even know how it's possible. Just has absolutely no idea where it's going at all. Dennis Santana, 1 inning pitch, 2 Ks. He looked good in this game. Colin Holderman, 1 inning pitch, 1 hit, 1 walk. Joey Wentz came in, 2 innings pitched, 2 runs, no earned. He actually didn't look terrible. He had 2 walks, 1 K, but not put in great situations. And then Tim Meza came in. I mean,
It was the worst situation of all.
1 hit, just like I get you. You're putting him in that situation to get a ground ball there. Got the exact opposite of it, but just not a great situation to be thrown in for him. He's, again, why not even go Meza earlier on in the series?
I didn't even know I forgot he was on the team at one point. I mean, like, what? I don't understand why he wasn't used in that first game after Skeens, or I don't know.
I know you're not expecting to go 12 innings, but let's game plan here a little bit more. Offense, Reynolds 2 for 5, 1 run, 1 walk. Bart 3 for 6, 1 RBI. Sawinski 1 for 5, 1 RBI, 1 walk. He was robbed. Absolutely just insane catch by Griffin Conine. Sawinski has been more aggressive.
Yeah,
he's 1 for 5 here. The stat line doesn't show it because he got the home run taken away, but he hit the ball hard just about every single time. Nice double off the wall. IKF 2 hits, 2 walks. As a team, 10 strikeouts, 8 walks. Not bad there. 3 for 18 runners in scoring position. Again, 3 for 18. 13 left on base, 6 stolen bases. So the notes I have here, Scott, the big takeaways: being aggressive on the base pass, as we talked about, forcing errors, putting pressure on the defense is going to be a key in generating runs with this team, because the lineup talent alone is not going to do it. They have very little slugging here. They're not going to drive in runs, clearly, as I just showed you, with runners in scoring position. So you got to find other ways to win, and that's going to be one of them. Cruz did the same thing with 2 outs here. So bad defense. Sawinski diving, letting a runner advance, just not smart baseball. And that's what killed us.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a note on Jack Sawinski real quick. He, I think it was Hannah Mears mentioned his approach early on in the game, during the game. We talked about it last year. He was someone that maybe was too passive at the plate, and maybe that was also affected by the Andy Haynes approach. But he said he's getting back to where he was comfortable. Where he's jumping on pitches early. He's more aggressive earlier on in the count, and I think that's going to be important to watch, because I have. Let's make this known. I have been impressed by Jack Sawinski. So put it on the record. Maybe not a quote card, but put it on the record.
I was going to say that's a quote card for sure.
All right, let's go on to Sunday. All right, Sunday's game. Last game of the series, 3-2 loss. Another walk-off in Miami. Andrew Heaney looked good. I guess he's not a spring player, because he looked pretty solid. 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 2 Ks. Not going to generate a bunch of whiffs, 6 total. Justin Lawrence looked better. Got a hold, 1 inning, 1 K. Colin Holderman, second blown save of the series, 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 run, 2 Ks. I was really scared with how much he was leaving that fastball over the plate to Griffin Conine, because that is the one guy in that lineup that I would pitch around, because one swing of the bat and that guy could put it 450 feet into the seats. Caleb Ferguson looked solid, 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 walk, and David Bednar secured his second loss, 1 hit and 1 run in the ninth. The ninth, right? That was not the extra inning game. Saturday was the extra inning game. So Kutch, offensively, 1 for 3, hit a home run, his first of the year, hit an RBI, walk, and 2 Ks. Reynolds went 1 for 4 with a double. They only had 1 stolen base this game. Indy was caught stealing, but Sawinski secured his second. 5 hits total, 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position, 6 left on base, 9 Ks. 15 total stolen bases in the first 4 games. So like we said, that has been a focus for this team. I'm about done talking about this series. I don't know about you, if you have anything else to add, but it was one to forget, and I'm not going to let it, like Andrew Heaney said in the post game, F it. It's early. And I hope that,
you got to have that mentality. Yeah. The only notes that I had was what we already talked about earlier, was Ji-Hwan Bae should not be on a major league team. We said this going into the year. I don't know if it's just purely a roster decision right now, or if once again he fooled them into thinking that he's taking the next step forward. Not sure how, and it wasn't even with the bat, which the bat was horrendous. This series with Ji-Hwan Bae. The base running was even worse. Yeah. Again, if you are going to be on this team at any point this year, it is not because you were putting the ball in play. It's not because you play good defense, because you don't. It's because you're going to be put in the game in the 7th through 9th inning to replace an Andrew McCutchen or a Joey Bart to score, to steal a base, get in running scoring position, and then score. Find a way to get that run in, and he is incapable of doing that. That's honestly what made me the most frustrated. Everything else was so bad, but just to cap off the series with that display was unreal.
Yeah, no, very frustrating, man. Very frustrating. Let's get into this Rays series. We have got a 3-game series, Monday through Wednesday. They got Thursday off before they come home for the home opener. Got some quick previews like we do every episode. We're not going to do Down the Farm, by the way. We'll probably do the first series of that on Wednesday to recap a week of AAA season. But all the other affiliates don't start until the 4th, when the home opener is. So just a quick note there. But let me get this kicked off real quick here. The first series, it's tonight, Monday, 7 p.m., I believe, in Tampa at Steinbrenner Field. They're playing at the Yankee Spring Training Complex. It's Drew Rasmussen versus Carmen Mlodzinski. He makes his debut in the rotation. 2024, Rasmussen only threw a couple games. He was 0-2 with a 2.83 ERA, 108 WHIP in 22 2/3 innings pitched after being activated from the 60-day IL in August of last season, following his internal brace surgery on his elbow in July of 2023. He had 16 appearances, but only 4 starts last year, so mostly in relief. But he's a guy that has a lot of good fastballs, I shall say. He's kind of like a Lance Lynn type guy with a lot more movement, a lot more velocity. He throws a 4-seam sinker, cutter, and then a sweeper. But he only throws that sweeper 5% of the time. The 4-seam gets up to like 97, 98. The sinker can sit at 95, 96. And the cutter around like 90. So that provides a little bit more movement on the fastball. Again, he's just been a guy that struggled with, arm injuries throughout his career, but he's got really good stuff, high velo fastball, effective cutter, above average command, and he generates a ton of ground balls. The sweeper has a high whiff rate, even though he doesn't throw it a ton. This is a guy that's going to be tough, man. They got to jump on the fastball early, and he might only go 4 or 5 innings, but this is a guy that's not going to be an easy matchup for them. No one in the Rays rotation is going to be an easy matchup.
All right, Scott. Tuesday versus right-handed pitcher Shane Baz. If it sounds familiar, you are right. Former Bucco, traded
player to be named later.
The Rays and the player to be named later. Has struggled his career with injuries, but the stuff is gross when he is on. 2024, 4-3 record, 3.06 ERA, 14 games played, 79 innings, 79 Ks, 1.06 WHIP. Here's the arsenal, Scotty. 4-seam slider, curve, change. You're going to see heavy 4-seam usage here. 95, 96 miles per hour, 48% of the time. Slider, 21% of the time. Sits around 87 to 88 on the slider, and the change, similar profile. Curve, 20% of the time. Has a lot of movement on that curveball, too. 83 miles per hour. Swing and miss slider, true plus stuff offerings in the upper 80s with a sharp biting action. So you're going to see a lot of movement here. Develop the change. Not his best pitch, as I mentioned, 10% right now, but it's another pitch in the arsenal to look after here. So should see some decent stuff from Baz in game 2.
And then game 3, they ended with Ryan Pepiot versus Paul Skeens. Pepiot is one of their better arms. Last year, he went 8-8, 3.60 ERA, 26 games started, 130 innings pitched, 142 Ks, and 115 WHIP. He had a start already this year in game 1 versus the Rockies, 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 8 Ks. He'll throw a lot at you, 5 different pitches, 4-seam, change, slider, cutter, curve. He's heavy on the change. Throws a 4-seam about 39% of the time at 95. The change 25% of the time at 85. Slider, cutter 22%, 11% respectively. They both sit around 89 to 92. And the curve 4% of the time about 80. He developed the curve with the Rays. He's improved his command. That was his one knack as a Dodgers prospect, was his command. But they've really worked with him there. He's, especially with his top 3 offerings, he's really comfortable with the 4-seam change and slider and pitching those in the zone. Heavy change usage in all counts. He'll really come at you with that changeup. He's not a ground ball guy. He's actually quite the opposite. He does generate a lot of fly balls, which makes him prone to home runs. But this is a guy that's going to work vertically with you with the fastball and changeup, and also mix in a slider and cutter, horizontally there in the zone. This is a guy that Pepiot versus Skeens, that's going to be a really good matchup to watch, and I'm excited to see that on Wednesday.
Yeah, to pick to click this series, Scott.
Well, I want to know who's starting on Tuesday. Are they doing a bullpen game? Because that's what it seems like. That is TBD, with Mlodzinski going tonight and Skeens going Wednesday. Pick to click, man. Let's just go with Brian Hayes.
Yeah, for me, I got to go with a lefty. I think O'Neal Cruz is going to hit at least 2 home runs.
Okay.
If that you're pretty much mimicking Yankee Stadium here. You got a short porch out in right field. I think you're still kind of getting that spring weather that you get in Florida that's conducive to home runs, getting the ball up in the air. So my pick to click is O'Neal Cruz. I think he continues to have good at bats, and we see a little bit more power this series. But hey,
I want to debut a segment called Scotty Moe's Keys to Wins or Keys to Winning. Okay.
Yeah.
These are my 3 keys to winning. Don't get walked off. Don't get walked off. Don't get walked off.
Love that. I think that's your baseball mind working at its best right now. So just real big brain stuff. Great. Hey, it's a new series, right? We're 1-3.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You're 0-0 versus the Rays right now. You got Skeens going. Got to get back up on the horse. It's a long season. We got 3 games in Tampa. Then we come back for the home opener Friday through Sunday against the Yankees. Looking forward to that. But let's go get the game tonight. Get back up there. Let's play some solid baseball. And let's raise it.
Raise it.
Rockin' 101, she compliment my taste. Whiskey in my lemonade, cause I like the way it tastes. Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates, or the steak by the plates. And